Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. I am Nick and this is Super Simple Security Principles, part of the IHP Academy. This is episode 9, Who Do We Trust? The 1Password edition. In episode 8, we talked about creating a master password. Hopefully you have a fresh new password ready to use. Makani, how or what's the next step for us along our journey?
The next step is to decide what password manager you want to use, which means that today we get to talk about one of my favorite security tools of all time, 1Password. Now, it's sort of a confusing name, especially if you go try to type that in online, but it's the number one, not spelled out, then password. We even have a link in the show notes just to make it easy. Now, I really love 1Password. I've been using it for 12 years. And I could talk about why I love it for way more than a single episode. But I'm also in a big hurry to get you actually using a password manager. So I'm going to control myself, just focus on one reason, because I trust them to keep my password safe. And even just that question of trusting them is way too much for a single episode. Instead, I've picked a few of the biggest reasons and ones that I hope will be the most useful for you guys, our listeners, to understand.
Excellent. Now, a couple of disclaimers. First, 1Password is not paying us or compensating us in any fashion for this episode. Second, 1Password is not the only password manager we trust. It is just the one we are focusing on today. Here's what I've learned. Password managers do all the heavy lifting. They made life easier for me. That said, I've used 3. Makani, I've seen how you evaluate some of these managers. What are a few things you are looking for?
I think the first one, the first key I want to talk about to trusting any company, not just password managers, but is understanding how they make money. I think it's always a good first question to ask. And in the case of 1Password, it's obvious and simple, which is a good sign to me. They offer a subscription-based password manager service. Their whole focus is continually improving their one and only product. And this is in contrast to some security companies who offer a whole suite of products, which I understand is very convenient for the user, but I personally favor companies with a laser focus on doing one thing really well. I have found the quality of the product to be better. And 1Password absolutely fits this pattern.
Okay, following the money is key in my mind. Understanding how a company makes money also kind of shows how they'll treat their clients. So show me the money, money talks. What else should I be aware of besides money?
Another universal key for trusting is communication, specifically how much they solicit and respond to feedback from their customers. Are they listening? Do they care? Do they answer my questions? And 1Password, I have found over the 12 years I've been working with them to be really good at this. They have a very active, open community forum. There are a ton of conversations there. They respond quickly, and it's visible to the whole world. They even allow dissenting voices without just cutting them out of the forum. And I have personally submitted multiple questions over the years with great results.
Dude, in my course of business, I've learned how you treat your clients and how you treat people matter. You know, how you're treated is important, period. So for us to have good communication between a company that we're using for security, I love. Now, this next section I also enjoy because we're going to let Mac geek out on us. Mac, what's the dirty work you've done to know if their product is safe?
Dirty work.
Yes, sir.
I love that work, but I get it. I get it. For some people, that's going to be dirty work. So this one is going to be a little bit different. The first 2 criteria we've talked about are kind of generic ones, but this one is going to be very specific to digital products. and it answers a hard question. And that is, how can you know if a digital product is safe? Can this company be hacked, or can they spy on me intentionally? How strong is their security really? And all these they're hard questions to answer, even for me as a lifelong software developer. And so I want to share one way that companies help answer that question, and that is by hiring security experts to perform a special kind of security audit called a pen test. This is geek speak for penetration test. And the idea is really simple. They try to penetrate or break into the product just like any criminal hacker would. And the strongest kind of penetration test has a special name called a white box, as opposed to black box, which is what a criminal hacker would do. And the difference is that the company hiring the hacker, the ethical hacker as they're called, they give them all sorts of inside information that a criminal hacker would not have to make it as easy as possible for them to actually break through their security and find those security holes. And then after the test is completed, the ethical hackers that they hired, they issue a full report of any little thing they found. And I've read a number of these reports, which I don't recommend for you, but they're very interesting because I've never actually seen one where like they totally broke through the security, but nearly every one of them has found all sorts of little tiny cracks in the wall. And it's because getting security is just really hard. And so for me, it's a huge sign of trust that companies are willing to take that step, because it costs a lot of money to hire this kind of service. And 1Password thankfully does it often. And there will be a link in the show notes to see at least a list of the recent tests. And even though I don't expect any of you are going to go look and dive into the technical details of those reports, just seeing the list of how often they do it and what they're doing, I think will probably give you a little bit of a warm fuzzy about them.
Dude, this is awesome. They hire people to try and hack their system. They feed them insider information, so they're already a step ahead of the outside true hacker. And then they're going to go through and create fixes and repair things. It's awesome. I worked in the financial industry and they do financial audits. I should have known that good security companies would do the same. You want a password manager who has and shares security audits about the company.
Exactly. And that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to teach today. So you want to give us a recap of the episode as a whole, Nick? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah. So to recap, and these are going to be Nick's words. I've used multiple password manager. For me, 1Password is super awesome. It is easy to use, and it has made life easier and safer, in my opinion. I'm not reusing passwords. I've been able to level up my security by using these. And do you know what? Finding the right fit really was important to me. I tried, as I mentioned earlier, three others, and 1Password really was the company that I loved because of the ease and everything they included.
Thanks, Nick. It's good to hear that it's working out well for you. You're enjoying it. And I just want to add one other thought. The main focus today has been teaching our listeners why we trust 1Password, but I also have another objective in mind, and one that in some ways I care about even more, because I want you to get just a little bit better at evaluating companies like 1Password for yourself.
Excellent. It's time for our call to action. How are we going to level up today, Makani?
Well, today I want all our listeners, I want you to decide for yourself, do you trust 1Password? We do, but what about you? And if you do, are you ready to give it a try? That's it.
All right. So if the answer is yes, you'll want to join us for episode 10, because we're going to be covering the gotchas that might trip you up as you get started. Either way, We want to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you liked and what you enjoyed. And if you are having problems and need more convincing, let us know. Okay, that's our super simple show today. Remember, just by listening, you are making an improvement to your privacy and security. We'd love to hear from you. So come visit us at ihpacademy.com by clicking on the link in our show notes. Thank you for joining us. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.